Okay, let's give it a try. There is my little piece of newsprint sheet. There are my 2 points, and as you can see, I don't see the point that's underneath, though they're really exactly on top of each other. I place my little piece of newsprint sheet under the point to stabilize the point, and then I use a regular stitch. I use a 1/4 inch foot. That is extremely important. I didn't mention that, but I almost would say calibrate your foot of your sewing machine with the seam allowances on your template, because if your seam is too small, your star will be too big for the circle. But if your seams are too big, your star will be too small and it won't fit either. So that 1/4 inch seam allowance is a really important thing. Measure it, calibrate it, and maybe you can adjust your needle if that is necessary. I always start with the regular stitch. The faff is a 2-2.5 is a perfect stitch. My needle is a 70 or 80 and I use white threads. I always start with a tiny back stitch. And as you can see, that little piece of paper, it stabilized the piece. Shift a little bit. Okay, I will stop here. I lift the foot and I will cut my threads, and then I go to the other side and try to do my little basting stitch to get my points to match. And again, they have to match here, perfect, or they have to match here. So let's give it a try. And if it's not okay, it is so much easier to take those little basting stitches. It is just a regular stitch, a 2.5, that will be fine. It is just a little help to get a perfect point. And if it's not working, and believe me, sometimes it doesn't work for me either. And you can see here, there is my little basting stitch, a regular stitch. So now I open the point. Let's see if I'm happy, and if I'm not, it's not a big deal. I'm not extremely happy. They are close, but they are not perfect. So I want to give it another try. And when I do that, I just go to the wrong side or the other side. And the only thing I do, take the thread out. Take the thread out here, and I can start all over again. And again, it's not a big deal. I like to show you perfect points, and this is how I make them. They don't feel better. So, and again, this is attempt 572. No, I'm kidding. This was my second attempt, and sometimes it takes several attempts to get a beautiful point. Let's see if it's working. So you can see that even for me, and I think it's even worse now. So, but you also can see how easy it is to take them out. Let's see if we measure this, and if we measure that, maybe it's better now. It will be nice if we have some beautiful points at the end of the day. I can live with this one. So now I start here at the beginning. Don't worry for all the little threads, and again, always that little back stitch. And as you can see, I don't go over my line, because that is my little wiggle room, that fudge back, that second seam allowance. So we don't need that, but you never know. If we make small adjustments when we assemble all the star points together, sometimes the seams can become uneven, and then you're very happy with that little bit of wiggle room. It is not necessary to do that back stitch here. Let's see how she looks like. Yeah, I can live with this point. Okay, I take my little piece of paper away. I open the point, and I finger press the seams open. I always do that. It's just a little help before you press the seams open with an iron. Just give them a little bit of help. And we get rid of all the little threads. This is how you make all your quarters. And if you have made your quarters, then you make 2 halves. You press them, you trim the little ears, because we don't need them. That's how we do it. We will have a beautiful point without any problems. And then we go to another one, and another one, and another one. And I come back to show you the 4 quarters and how we make 2 beautiful halves.